Hey Dan, how are you?
Hey, Paulie, good to see you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, doing well, doing well. Busy day, very exciting though. We went on a bit of a road trip today, an excursion, if you will, a hero excursion, didn't we?
It's always the best to go on hero excursions.
It really was. We were actually going to film a road trip Facebook Live. That time got the better of us. So we thought we would separate ourselves again, and here we are recording. But soon we'll have our own studio and we'll be recording side by side, mano a mano, brother to brother.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's been a unique time, obviously 2020, a lot of isolating, but it's
Mm.
amazing what we can all achieve through technology. So very grateful for that. And now we can be in the same space, which I'm really excited for.
And it's something that, I, for one, had taken for granted in the past, just being in human contact with another person. And it's incredible what when certain freedoms and liberties are taken away from you, what you do realize you take for granted on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, well said.
um, we wanted to talk about stress today, and I'm going to cut to the chase really, and just we were talking off camera about the origins of stress and how it's placed in your biology, and we can get to that at some stage. But really, I want to talk about how stress serves us, because stress gets demonized a lot when it comes to the way we live our lives, and for good reason, because a lot of people can use stress where it may not be required. But stress is a constructive stress is something that we place on our bodies all the time when we for example, in the hero world, when we are restricting our eating windows, or if we are putting ourselves under, a certain amount of exercise regime, so we break down our muscle fibers and give them an opportunity to rebuild. That's all a very constructive stress, where your body gets exposed to a certain level of stress so it can thrive in the future. So what I really wanted to address was identifying how we can use stress to serve us, but also understanding that there are places in our lives where we create stress where it doesn't necessarily have to be there. And I feel like this is a kind of a product of modern world fabric, where a stress response of an elevated cortisol level had been there for many millennia, because we were in imminent danger, because the saber-toothed tiger was around the corner and we needed to survive, and the fight or flight response was there, and all that kind of stuff. But there are no more saber-toothed tigers, so we create a stressful response around us when a work task is overdue, and we stress about that, or we have a fight with our partner and we stress about that. And the exact same fight or flight response occurs within us. Now, all of these types of things are incredibly useful from a biological perspective, because our heart rate elevates and we're like, boom, let's get out of here. Let's either fight the crap out of this tiger or let's run, right? But what that does is it gives us a survival mechanism in the short term. What it doesn't do is serve us in the long term. And we've just kind of conditioned ourselves to be in this fight or flight situation biologically, constantly, in a modern day and age, with all of these different stresses around us. So I think it's important to understand that stress is here. It's a very real thing, and it's something that can serve you in acute situations, but it's about acknowledging when it can serve you and when to understand that you don't actually need it, that we don't need to be in this stressful situation all the time.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's so easy to be distracted by stress. And when there is distraction, it usually means we're overwhelmed and we're anxious, unable to be present, um, unable to connect in a respectful way because of emphasizing this sensation in the body or emphasizing the thought or emotion in the mind. And so each of us have our own practices, whether it's a meditation practice, whether it's a physical practice, whether it's a breath work practice. So it's about really bringing those practices to life in the very moment that there is a stressful situation or experience being had. Because if not, we're just at the whim of stress. And we know when we're at the whim of stress, it just can lead us around here, there, and everywhere. Maybe we're not sleeping because we're stressed. Maybe we're not making love because we're stressed. Maybe business is suffering because we're stressed. Maybe we're not eating well because we're stressed. And so there's so much distraction of stress in our life, and we are being mastered by the stress rather than being the master of stress.
Perfect.
So this is a great invitation to just check out where stress is being played out in your life and go back to, what has served you in the past when you feel stressed, and see how you can bring that into your life again and again and again, because practice makes progress. And when you're progressing, it means that stress becomes no longer an enemy, rather it becomes an ally, because it reminds you to practice.
Perfect. And one thing I want to add to that is you've just asked our tribe to really acknowledge when stress is present in our lives and to learn how to diffuse it to a certain degree, but also acknowledge when you can be conscious of adding a really controlled level of stress to your life. Like I said earlier in this talk, exercise, putting yourself in a restricted eating window, having cold showers. These are all stresses that you're putting under your body, but you have the control to be able to do it. You're stepping out of that comfort zone, and it's like you are the master of your stress levels. And if you condition yourself with that control level, when stress comes up, when you didn't invite it, all of a sudden you're conditioning yourself to be able to say, hang on, I'm the master of this. I know how to turn this up and down.
Perfect. That was great, Paul. So hopefully there's some takeaways here. I think the invitation to acknowledge where stress is present in your life and how it impacts yourself and relationships is a really good starting point to acknowledging where you want to make changes. And I think, just to wrap it up in terms of like the intention of how you use stress is a really powerful practice too. So Paul, thanks for bringing that to light today.
Beautiful. Thanks, Dan. And thanks, guys. We'll see you very soon.
Thanks, everyone.